Good morning from here. Warm greetings on all levels. We'd like to start with a few moments of drill from Madhaban.
बाप दादा की रूहानी ड्रिल याद है ना। ये एकाग्रता की ड्रिल सदाई करते चलो। अभी एक सेकंड में मन के मालिक बन। और मेरा बाबा संसार है। दूसरा न कोई। इससे एकाग्र स्मृति में स्थित हो जाओ। अच्छा
welcome back. It would be lovely to hear your reflections and experiences on this topic. And I think knowing the enemy, that is one of the aspects of the expert. And I particularly like to be reminded that the needs of the body are not the needs of the being, the soul, and that relieves the soul of that subconscious anxiety. And this is not our world. The Father of the soul is the one that can give this in a very stable way. There's no other authority on this kind of separation than coming as that sovereign. So that this was some thoughts. So we'll just check the translation is fine. Seems to be okay. And so now I'll be handing over to Prashant. And good morning.
Thank you. Hello and good morning. Let us create a few more minutes of attention. First, we remind that it is the journey of the invisible player. It is not the journey of Prashant. We are here for the soul. We are friends of the soul, not a friend of the role. Ravan is the one who is fanatic. He is like a mad fan of the role. So we don't see it as neutral. It is just a little, one step towards soul consciousness. No, we are in an opposite camp if we remain, working for the role. So in a second, we understand it is the journey of the invisible player. And this invisible player is very lucky. He is immortal. He is from the family of God. We see him as a star, in the image of a star with the halo, more like a presence. But we are getting used to this idea. The true self is bodiless, more like a presence. And we see this true self in the image of a white star with the halo. He is the invisible observer. He observes everything. But he is a detached observer. He remains completely free from everything. Story comes, story goes, things change. He remains completely free. Thank you. various times we have taken an example, and let us repeat that example. Let us say there is Julia and another Agnes. They both are acting in a school drama, and Julia acting as a camel, and Agnes is acting as an elephant, and Prashant acting as a dragon. And that is a drama for the children. For 10 minutes, there is a drama. On the stage, there is camel. All the audience, all the children are seeing the camel. They don't even know that there is Julia. But Julia is amused by this. Julia not only knows about Julia, she knows about the world of Julia, parents and her house and town and friends. She knows that whole world of Julia. And she knows this camel is just for 10 minutes stunt. So also Agnes acting as elephant, she is aware of her world and is amused by this. On the stage, elephant disappears at some point. Part of elephant is just for 10 minutes, and then no more elephant and no more drama also. But Agnes is not worried about this, and Julia is not worried about. She is amused by everything that is going on. For them, this whole experience of the drama is extra. Whole thing is cancelled is not a problem. It's an extra experience. It's an entertainment. Dragon comes. That is also an entertainment for Julia and Agnes. An example. But let us say if Julia acting as camel gradually gets so pulled by the drama that she forgets about Julia. If that drama was not just of 10 minutes, but 10 years, continuous drama for 10 years, there is a good chance. Julia has not seen Julia. Julia has not seen her parents. Julia has not, and the whole time everybody is liking, loving camel, and they are giving attention to camel, and they're getting gifts to camel. So there is good chance you feel, where is this Julia? I have not seen Julia at all. Camel is the reality for me. Every day you 24 hours you are seeing camel, and you start to believe that this is me. And it appears completely innocent and completely harmless, because that is the reality. Everybody is just paying attention to camel. You feel completely justified in it. But why is it wrong to do that? Life goes on. Another 10 years go past, and life is going on. Nothing is a problem. But what is one reason why she is doing something wrong? What is the one reason? Instead of holding on to Julia, which she has not even seen for 10 years, she thought it is better to just accept I'm the camel, and life goes on. But where does she go wrong in believing that she is camel? Do you want to tell? Why is it such a big mistake? Where that is going on and on, it appears like forever you are in this world of camel and elephant. What is that mistake?
The people, she loses contact with reality, not reminded of the primary world, maybe believing the vision of others. Play is temporary, forgetting that. She gets fully involved in the drama. It forgets it's a script. Lost contact with who she is.
Yes, even though it looks to be forever, this going on and on in the 10 years and 20 years, it is never forever. Drama doesn't go forever. Drama has an end. And she compromises truth. That is the problem. When you go in on the path of falsehood, then you are lost everything. You are into a different game. That is when our enemy comes in. The whole problem of what our war is, the enemy, Ravan. Ravan's birth happens in falsehood. And so here you compromise truth, you go into falsehood, and then Ravan comes in. If Julia this is true, then she has to hold on to this. Gandhi's movement, in social, not just political movement, but his life principle, he called it Satyagraha. Satya means truth, and Agraha is insistence on truth. So if he came to a conclusion that to eat meat, to kill someone and eat them, that is wrong, then it is wrong. Even if he is to die, he will not go into the direction what is wrong. That is what the Satyagraha is. Death of the body is not a big deal, but to move out of what he understood as truth, he called it hypocrisy. For whatever reason, you come out of truth. Maybe everyone else is in falsehood, so you join them. You are coming out of truth. So that is his movement, to stay with truth, and then there is hope. And the same principle applies to us. Our victory is in truth. The question is to find out what is true. Is this yes or no? This kind of thing. Every aspect of knowledge. To find out if it is really true. And if it is true, then that for whatever reason, if we compromise truth, then game is lost. Then that is exactly when the enemy flourishes. So here, let us see our world now. We saw about Julia and the camel. Now, what has happened with us? What is our story? The real actors are invisible. This is like our reality, you, me. There is a real actor. And these actors are playing a part on a stage and playing the part of human part. They are no different to camel and elephant. So someone is playing one part, someone is playing another part. This is the drama of camel and elephant. It is not a 10-minute drama, it is thousands of years drama, long drama. And you are fully associated with it. And actor is invisible. Everyone is giving attention to the theater, to camel and elephant. So there comes a time, we are defeated. This is the story. And you start thinking you are the camel. And this is when there is an emotional disconnect. You are now disconnected from your world. You disconnected from Julia's parents, and Julia's world, as if it doesn't exist for you. Because now camel has become your world. And when you are disconnected from yourselves, that is when ego takes birth. And that's what we call false identity. Ego, you are defining yourselves based on the role, temporary role of the camel. And this goes on for years and years and years, centuries, that goes on. Everybody else treating you like this. Plato, Greek philosopher, he uses the expression, don't know that we don't know. And he spoke of this more than 2000 years ago. So don't know that you don't know. Double ignorance. So you find yourselves in such a state that you don't even question it. You are the camel and someone else is the elephant, and this is our reality. No question even that this may be a theater, this may be a stunt, and we are different, we got a home. No question. And even those who speak about it, it is like a bit of a theory, philosopher. Like Shakespeare speaks, world is a stage. But did he really see it as a stage? Why just one reference? If it is a stage, he should be coming on the stage and telling everyone, this is a stage and there is a world behind. No, it was just a nice one idea, maybe this kind of thing. Same with philosophers. Many philosophers speak of these ideas, but that is all. But in that falsehood, ego gets bigger and bigger. In one Murli Baba said, these trees and forests, no one need to go and look after them. You don't need to go and water them or something. They find water from somewhere and they find some nourishment. Baba used the word air because they also, air provides nitrogen for them. So they use air, water, nutrition. They get bigger. They don't just stay there, they continue to get bigger. So also the ego within us gets bigger. Just you don't need to go and feed them. It will find the food. And in time, it is not just one identity. Ravan has 10 heads. So many identities take birth. And they all are getting bigger. They all are nourished. And as they get bigger, you are now in this camp, Ravan's camp. and we saw yesterday, this is like we have been going into the direction of creating attachments in that story world for a long time. But when we give birth to the ego, it's a big drop. The moment identity takes birth, it's a big drop. It is like another, milestone. Why? Creating this identity is a big drop in the spiritual, life of all of us. It is worse than Adam eating the apple or apples. Adam eating the apple and losing Garden of Eden, and that is trauma, that is a traumatic. It is there. Psychic trauma is there in each and every one. But this identity is a bigger trauma for the soul. Why?
Earlier comment, it creates separation, but it's an earlier because when we lose our identity, we feel insecure, or the ego is perpetually insecure. And that's when the vices begin, and that's like a painful drop, maybe. It's a loss of self-respect. And we don't know how to get back, how to return. It's like, in the dark and confused. And we've forgotten the truth. There's no reference point for the truth. And it's not the real nature of the soul, who we really are.
Sure. Another thing that happens, this identity you have created, it becomes your enemy. Why? Because now the situation is created in such a way, the psychic dynamics, that if you remove it, you survive. If you want to become conscious, you have to remove this identity. So this identity sees you as an enemy. You are going to remove him, and it has to keep you unconscious to remain alive. Just like Baba said, snake is the enemy of the frog, because it is a life between you live or die. The snake feels if he doesn't eat you, he will die. The frog, and the frog feels snake, because of snake, he will die. So here it is like a life and death. This kind of enemy you have created within yourself. It is not some academic the situation. Oh, nice, some identity. May I identify? This is what Ravan is. And Baba have once mentioned the war between Ravan and Ram is fierce, Ganagor. It is a fierce battle. It is a battle for life and death. Understand? It is like we mentioned yesterday. Anyone that has got life comes into life, don't want to die. So also this ego, each head of Ravan, once you have given it birth, it doesn't want to die. And we can't be very casual about this. And Ravan will use any trick to survive. Just as if it can be a rat or anything. If a rat realizes that someone is after it, you want to catch the rat, it will use any trick to survive. And so here, Ravan will use any trick. It is not just going to go because you have become Brahmin. In fact, most of the time, we are deceived in a big way. It is a bit like, say, one is thinking that he's a camel. Ask yourselves, in the last 24 hours, how much time there was attention that invisible traveler, invisible player is the actor behind this role is there here, and that is you. How much time there was awareness that this is a drama and there is an actor behind this. And if that awareness is not there, then the ego was in charge. You thought this is you, camel. That is drama. Do not use the word drama. Drama is nice knowledge. Most of the time, this is very serious. This is what has to be done. This is my life, and this is my friends, and these are my this. This is the position of the ego. Ego lives at that level. And then he comes to knowledge, and he agrees with the soul, nice knowledge, and agrees with all the knowledge, but he still continues as a camel. Just there is a now extra label, BK in front. He has not become soul conscious, but just it has become a BK camel, and life goes on. What is required is that shift from smriti of camel to smriti of the actor. Smriti means how you define yourself. And me, that is around camel, that from there it has to be shifted to the actor behind. This is the shift. Yeah, you want to add anything? You want to say anything?
Yeah, there are actually 4 or 5 questions here. Fascinating. This actually came the end of yesterday, but relevant in this discussion. If we need to play our part, we're aware of the temporary identification, such as the being a boss. Is there any problem? Because it's a problem with language here, I think, because one is being aware of the role. Do you understand where it's coming from? Like, what is the problem of being aware of the temporary identification?
There is nothing called temporary identification. A temporary role is one thing, but identity is something deeper. It is once you have given, as we are seeing here, once you have given birth to it, it continues with you from one life to other life even. That identity continues from one day to other day. As we are saying, it wants to survive. It will do anything to get bigger. Only the pain removes it. We are also, we have discussed in the truth, playing the role, as Sarah says, the language. Identity is a different word, but part is no harm in playing the part. But we don't want to go into falsehood. You play the part of the camel, but you don't identify with the camel. You don't say, I am the camel. Do you believe in that? That is what we are questioning here.
Yeah, thank you. May I ask other questions?
Yeah.
So we call invisible traveler as experienced. So how can it be completely detached? That's the question. That makes sense.
Yeah, invisible traveler, how can he be?
Well, we say he's experienced. We call the invisible.
Understand. Yeah. You know what it is? Like, say, I go to someone's house and I am seeing what is in the house. I'm getting the experience. I may sit on a sofa in their house. I experience music also. And then when it's time to go, I go. And when you are going, there's no problem there. You are going. You don't feel, oh, this is my sofa. These feelings are not there. I don't want to go out. You're happy to come in, happy to come out. Then it means there is no bondage. And this word attachment, avoid the word attachment, English word, but there's no bondage. When you are going there to the house and becoming dependent on anything, dependent on people, dependent on the object, and then you get sorrow when it is time to go. You are missing someone, you are missing something, then it means there is a bondage. And that is what we are questioning. The experience is not a sin, but to create dependency, that is sin. And then to create identity is like a big bondage. You define yourselves based upon something in a house that is not even yours. I hope that is clear. So to experience is not a sin. We are experiencing many things. I can look at the sky and I'm experiencing it, but it is not a bondage.
Yeah, helpful. Yeah, clear. Thank you. Okay, a couple of quick questions about the word sin. And the one question is Vikram. Is that the Hindi word?
Yeah.
And is it correct to use Ravan meaning devil?
What is the connection with Vikram?
No, it's two different things. Two
Uh-huh.
different questions.
Yeah, Ravan is devil.
Mm.
We are using it, as in story. Ravan is shown as a devil.
Personification.
Yeah.
This question, does the soul, it seems like it must have like two minds. One is drama that creates thoughts so that the scripted dialogues and actions can be done, because thoughts always come before words and actions. But when it's said, then it's fixed. So surely thoughts are fixed. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay, let me clarify this. Baba likes this image of the film. Baba, more than the drama, Baba says film helps to clarify. Baba likes the model of the film that explains knowledge better. Film is played. You are watching the film, and many things happen on the screen, and there is an audience. Audience is watching the film. Yeah. Thoughts are not happening on the screen. Thoughts are happening in the audience. And it is a big question. We feel sometimes first the thought comes, then the action happens. This is and in Max Muller Institute in Munich, in Germany, the one study that they did, they found that sometimes the action happens, thought comes afterwards. So they were literally asking the question to themselves: this little man sitting in our head, is he giving the orders, or is he just observer? Because the action is already the neural neural message has already started. They can see the action potential in the nerves. The message is gone, and then they are observing, what the action is happening. So this is like a film is going on, and the soul is the observer of the film. That is like to keep this in mind as a nice model, as a possibility. It looks as if we are initiating the action. In one model, it is like that. If we see it as a drama model, but when we see it as a film model, things are fixed. Like right now, Prashant is talking. Am I working out every detail? Sometimes it appears the words are spoken, and I am observing it. So soul is like an audience of this film. Not a part of our subject of today, but just another time we can discuss this in more detail. But film is a good image.
Maybe just one more question, little connected probably. So the identity, the false self, the ego, the role is like mechanical pattern, or does it have its own thinking, its own intelligence, separate from the soul's awareness?
So what is
You
the
partially answered it. It's like, does ego, false self, have its own intelligence separate from the soul's awareness?
Yeah, sure. What essentially is happening, it is all cognitive functions, all the conscious functions are happening from the soul. And the soul is doing everything, whatever you are seeing, the conscious activities, emotions, feeling, 100% are happening in the soul. Soul can perform them either from the soul conscious platform, or soul can perform them from the ego platform. Intelligence and everything is within the soul. But when it is ego is using that same intelligence. But for the ego is the king. That's the only difference. Almost like, say, there is a country and the party changes, government changes, can be completely opposite. Some foreign government may take over, and they are using the resources, they are using the advisors, they are using the resources, but now completely different aim, different agenda. And it is same here. The ego becomes the king. Ravan becomes the king, and the whole machinery of the soul is used by Ravan.
And that helps. And maybe just a follow-up quick comment by the same person, but the soul doesn't perform, it observes. Is that correct?
In this model,
Yeah.
in this model, soul is the vulnerable audience of this extraordinary film, fixed repeating film.
Thank you. So no other questions right now?
Yeah. So we were coming to this discussion that yeah, lots of scribbles. This actor is playing the part and can give the environment of ignorance, darkness, that absolutely favors the enemy. Here our aim is, we said our aim is to shift the rule of the enemy, the rule of ego. We want the soul to become conscious. This is the victory for the soul. We said there is a battle there, battle for life and death. We have created this situation, given birth to a false identity, and that false identity is our fierce enemy. And ask yourselves how much you are working for it in the last 24 hours. When these maryadas and all are placed, they are to restrain, don't feed these false identities. False identity want whatever indulgence. It is all this false identity, and they are your enemy. They want to block you, the soul, from becoming conscious. Leave aside anything further. You want to. It cannot. Soul never dies, but making him unconscious is a worst thing that can happen to him. And now, Baba's task is Baba is a friend of the soul. You will be doing good karma if you become friend of other souls. Not friend of Freddy and not friend of Tom, but friend of the souls. If you do this, then you are performing the highest karma and become friend of yourselves. And as opposed to just friend of the ego within you. Know the difference. And if you want to help the soul in yourselves, where do you start? We are saying here, soul is not even conscious. So where do you start? Even Murlis, you are listening to Murlis, soul is not even conscious. Baba has to repeat the same thing so many times. In one Murli, he has to repeat so many times. And soul is not conscious. So where do you start? One word answer. You want to be the friend of the soul, something within you. You maybe even get cooperation of Ravan, and become friend of the soul. Where do you start?
Intellect.
Yes.
We're moving rapid, but yes. Silence. Shifting the intellect to paras, using the awareness, smriti. Start from the sky.
Yeah, good, very good. The word I was looking for is we want to change the atmosphere. Change the environment. Just like in one environment, daffodils come up. In one season, you will see daffodils come out. Another season, cactus comes out. Some other weeds come out. And that the environment promotes, one or the other. So here you create an environment of wisdom, environment of knowledge, environment of light. That environment favors the soul. So in your town, if you can set up a place, where there is an environment of knowledge, just for the town, people can come in and just there can some exhibition sets, but there is an environment of they just look at it, see some images, words, but it creates a environment. Some light comes in their head. That's very good news. There's some books or some sketches. Word paras is very good. The environment of wisdom, knowledge, light. Not just pushing words like just scripture, but some realization. It should lead to some level of realization. That is environment of wisdom. They shouldn't feel I want to run away from this. There is too much. too much knowledge. That is not the environment of wisdom. Sensible, being sensitive to where they are at and meeting them where they are at to the next level. But for yourselves, the environment of knowledge and wisdom that favors the soul. Sometimes just a sketch like this and explain what that sketch means. We ourselves need that. The reminder that we are just passing through. To see the big map is a necessary aspect of this wisdom. Seeing the big map, it favors the soul. When you can't see the big map, stone intellect perspective, some petty things, you make a big deal about it. So impressed with something small. That favors the ego, that favors Ravan. Ravan is so caught up in that pettiness. So some speak about go on talking about some petty things that favors the ego. Read that many times for you. It did not start with 1 minute, but we want to sustain it. Until it sort of remains in your head. That bigger alaukic reality that should stay with us. That favors the soul. If you are in an environment which is very stone intellect, so much petty things are, you're thinking about it. Camel, elephant, gossip around the camel, elephant, if this is what has been going on, and suddenly you hear about soul and God, it will be meaningless for the person. Even for a Brahmin, it will be meaningless because you are in a different gear altogether. Revision, reminders, they are very precious in this game. And in that environment, you are absolutely helping the soul to become conscious. And that changes the game. Yesterday we saw that if the soul becomes conscious, then that's all that's required to remove Ravan, to remove the enemy. Until then, no one can remove the enemy. Ravan is not going to remove Ravan. Different heads of Ravan cannot, they have no plan to remove Ravan. So they go in circle of some kind when it appears like a spiritual effort, but we go in circle. We said, you don't take the last step. What is really required, you don't do this. There is circle dance. But here we have to take this step, where the soul becomes conscious. Let us create a few minutes of this experience. So to create this atmosphere, the word paras is the best word, best intellect. God himself is called Parasnath. Lakshmi Narayan, they are Parasnath. And if we all have paras, and we have the option to use paras. And if we are to use paras, we have an option to use 100%. It will be radically different, but we are coming into truth. If we are on the platform of falsehood, then truth will be radically different. So we give ourselves this permission to go for 100% paras. And then we see the physical world. It is no different to camel and elephant story. The whole lot is a story. We ask ourselves, is it right or wrong? And if we have come to the conclusion, this is a story and it is temporary for us, we have come to this conclusion, then we see it as a story. We remind this is, at least during these minutes, we are seeing it as story. Everything that is happening in front of us right now is happening in a story. And that is nice to know. We may learn from the story, but it still remains the story. Even God comes and plays a part in the story. But it is a story. And a theater and a performance. And it is temporary. It also means there is a reality beyond. For Paras, it is natural to see the reality beyond. We see it in the image of a sky, world of the true family. They all are incorporeal and they all are like tiny, tiny points. They're conscious, those with personalities. They're living beings. Life is here. Life is not in the story. Sat Chit Anand is in the real world. Truth, Sat is truth, and Chit, consciousness, experiences of happiness, they are all in the real world, not in the story world. They all are tiny stars, but they are our true family, those whom we knew for eternity. Old friends, old relations. It is like that. We also know this region is Ravan free, which means nothing inauspicious. Ravan's whole department, whether it is manipulation, whether it is of desperations and desires and disappointments, that whole department doesn't exist. All are desireless, sorrowless, egoless, viceless, free from ignorance. What remains is life of joy and love. This is the world of God and world with God. For Paras, this is vivid. It is not a meditation experience. It is his family. and it is his world, his home. In this environment, the true self, it favors the true self. True self becomes fully alert. And for the true self, it is normal to be incorporeal, normal to be immortal. This moment, normal to be so independent from the story, separate. He doesn't mix his world with the story. And understands the story as a great entertainment, but a separate world. Different episodes and beginning, end, but the true self is invisible witness of all this. He is sensible not to create any dependency in the story. Story, whole thing may come to an end and it doesn't disturb him. He himself is separate, his world is separate. He knows everyone is safe and everyone is noble and lucky. They are all immortal. All are loved by God and they belong to God. He knows this. And the story finishes, the next episode starts. Nothing is wrong anywhere. The true self, he sees perfection all around. He sees greatness, all are good, and he sees immortality and beauty. And the universe is positive. Everyone is good, everything is good. As we continue on our journey, we remain aware of this extraordinary truth. Repeatedly, him to remember that this is the journey of the invisible player. Invisible player is the invisible soul. And every second we create an environment to make him conscious. We become the friends. We become our own friends. if we are working for the ego, which is most of the time, we truly become our own enemies. Because we become friends of Ravan, friends of the demon. Thank you. Happy to hear any thoughts.
Struck by how earlier it was discussed from that detachment, the feeling that you don't really need to think too much about what the associated role is doing. Lots of things are sort of happening almost automatically. And I could relate to that, not had still would like to experience more. Not really a question, but I think it's an interesting area perhaps to kind of soothe something. The ego who wants to micromanage each and everything. But there are very, you don't really need many thoughts to play the part. That was interesting. And the question here, how do we know that the soul is conscious, or the ego mind is talking about the alokik knowledge and the alokik world?
Yeah. When ordinarily without attention, ego is so dominant in the present age. So it is like that is the way the world is. Even though we may have knowledge, but body consciousness is the norm. When you give this extra attention, create the environment, and the perspective is from the soul. And especially the litmus test is this whole story world is separate from you. If you can say this to yourselves, this whole story world is separate. The invisible soul is saying, invisible traveler is saying, the story is separate, and the role in a camel, the part you are playing, in this case Prashant, is also separate from you. He can see himself independent of the whole camel and elephant world. Special attention to the camel, the part you are playing. If you can say that, then you can give yourself a score. During those seconds, you are soul conscious. Seconds. It doesn't mean next minute also you are soul conscious. It's a battle. The ego wants to get back into life, get back to be in charge. So that will go on. But at least we observe the contrast, and that is victory. Every minute we are doing this, it is a forward progress at an accurate level. Worth writing this down. From time to time, ask this question: does this story appear separate? Can you say this? This story is whole thing is separate. Ego cannot say this because ego is within it. We cannot say it is all separate from him. But the soul that is conscious can say this.
Yeah. It's helpful, isn't it, to make having this time and all here and grappling with this, and it's in no way to diminish this BK part. It's like really, it has to happen, and it's a creation of Baba, but just to find a tool to be able to see objectively. So just because I know it can be misunderstood or it could be misinterpreted, but yeah, it's so there's a question. Shall I ask it now, or do you want to take time for
Yeah.
Rose? Just to understand, in this age, the story at this time has like a purpose. It's like a confluence age. So does that mean it's not just entertainment, because the souls can connect, meet their potential, and then it's so the stage itself could be reset? Or do souls connect with each other in the soul world, and so the story is just pure entertainment?
No, yes, many stories, they are entertainment, but within that there are lessons we learn from the stories. There are many realizations happen as you watch the story. So also this story, within this story, there is tragedy, there is comedy, there is education, there is circus, all this is going on. Dance and war, horror, everything. This is a variety drama. Even God, comes in the story because that is where everyone else is. That's where he can meet you. So he also comes in the story, and knowledge is also given in the story. But story remains a story. That doesn't justify us in mixing our life with the story. Baba comes there to tell us to be free. He himself remains free.
Yeah, I really liked it yesterday. In the Merli we had, give my introduction, and today it was about his praise. But whatever is behind that is about giving the souls the destination beyond the story. And these could be means, depending on the culture, and that we remember the Father, or we become soul conscious, remember the Father in order to become free and have that destination. So yeah. So yeah, we can take the time for rooms now, unless you want to add anything, and maybe you can give a suggestion for a discussion.
Yes, today is our discrimination, understanding, recognizing the friend and enemy, understanding clear line. To win a war, you need to know the crease clearly. These days, cricket is going on in this country. So if you are playing cricket, you need to know the crease. So also, if in a tennis, you need to know the lines clearly. So in this game also, you need to know the lines, clear, better lines. Otherwise this confusion, you don't even know who the enemy is. And working for the enemy, then you can't win. So knowing the enemy, knowing the friend.
Yeah, thank you. Wrote something also in the chat, and we'll create that break now. Enjoy the discussion, and we'll see you back in just over 10 minutes. Thank you. Back. A few moments of this. See the stage from that freedom. Thank you. Would you be happy to share what came up? Because I think it will be valuable, even if it was halfway discussed. The feeling is when there's more contrast, there's more clarity. How do you know? We've got such an extreme aim in a way, such a line. But then when that is experienced, when there is that freedom from the role and that mind that is without the drop of poison or sorrow, that's only really when you know the contrast. Otherwise, it's all kind of shades of grey. Some thoughts from here. So it'd be great to hear from you. And meanwhile, welcome back to Prashant. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, welcome back. So we are seeing the part played by Ustad. Ustad is a very neutral word. It doesn't necessarily mean gaining victory. Ustad is expert in different fields. Ustad in music and Ustad in sport. But here is a Ustad in the art of gaining victory. And it is the biggest victory. Why it's the biggest victory? Because he is in charge of the life. We want to get Ravan to defeat Ravan. This is what the task of this Ustad is. No one can get this done. And you will be very, very clever to, in spite of Ravan being so dominant, to be the friend of the soul, friend of the true self, and remove Ravan within you. So the two levels, this victory is of the self, of course. Without that, we don't proceed further or start the process. And victory, we want to remove Ravan from this planet. It is not just one victory, but golden age is established if Ravan is removed from this planet. And so both are our duties at an immediate level. To be victorious at the self level, the biggest secret, see this whole physical world as not worth a penny. In different ways, you as long as you know that field of action of this enemy is this entertainment box. What we show in that blue color, that is the field of action of the enemy. If you make it big, if you give it value, give it importance, give it life. We used the word Lilliputs yesterday. we can see it as your uncle and auntie and everyone is in debt, then the enemy becomes big. When you see this invisible traveler is flying past it and has no time even to create attachments, he's just flying past. That is his only relationship with it. He's aware of it, observing it, but there's no time. Bring that perspective often. In that context, you are going into it and doing things, but your exit is very, very clear to you. The invisible traveler is going past. Invisible witness is flying past. And note for yourselves, the moment you make it worth more than that in different ways, then I'm opening the gate for the enemy. And it is totally in my hand to stop the gate. And there is no real reason to open the gate. We can do everything what needs to be done there, but without working for the enemy. Then Baba uses the word incarnate. You are going there for a very clear task, and that too it is a alokik task, and you come out. If you hang around there, you already start creating attachments. So that is your first duty, victory in yourselves, victory over the enemy. And second, the victory, getting the enemy out of this planet. We can't do this without a cooperation. It is not everyone, 8 billion, they all have to cooperate in this victory. And so you will have to have this program of education. If they don't even know the enemy, because this enemy is invisible. War is also invisible. You will have to create awareness, and certain number of population will understand it first, but that's a start. Only if they understand the enemy, then they can take a position against the enemy. And how many, we are talking about 8 billion, how many have the understanding of it properly? There are all kinds of stories, there are mythological stories, but that is not enough. It has to be very clear exactly what they can do, the next step. And this has to be, we'll be very happy to hear ideas and how this can be done, taken to the next level. It is the duty, everyone's duty. Some time ago, Baba used the word, you are the army, your duty is to win this war. You are the Shakti army. And the Shakti army has got a very clear goal. And just knowledge as application. So that is. Just want to mention one more thing that we heard in the recent Murlis. And Baba was saying, alokik duty. We interact with the world, we interact with each other, and there are lots of charitable organizations in this world. In a small place like Cambridge, population of 140,000, there are more than 1,000 voluntary organizations. So you get an idea, registered in the library. So much going on. And you got a duty for the world. What is the difference between your duty and everyone else? Governments are also, they are trying to help the population. They try their best to bring benefit. Religions are trying to bring benefit. And so that is happening, and you are doing. What is the difference, main difference? Do you want to tell?
One is physical and one is spiritual. Our task is spiritual. Beggar, you either helping the beggar be more comfortable, or the prince, the real soul, you're helping them come out of their sinking boat. And the difference is that we ourselves know the enemy, and we have the Father we must introduce. We're using a higher intellect. They're trying to repair the insecure box. Service through the mind as well. Otherwise, it's trying to give them a nicer place in the box, not helping them come out.
Yeah, sure. That's nice. So what is happening here? When we have lost the sight, we can't see the bigger map, then we are completely, we are trying to help the camel and elephant, and that is our world to start with. And the ego within each and every one is a beggar, continuous beggar. That's why he can never be free from needs. Ego has continuous needs. Whatever you give him, he wants more. And the governments, like right now, there are some strikes going on here, or they're threatening to. It is impossible, to fulfill the needs of the ego. It is like and this may be happening in many countries. Governments have to run out of ideas how to deal with this, because ego, whatever you give, ego wants more, and you give more, ego gets bigger, and ego wants more. So this is the uh, situation of the beggar within, and everyone is trying to make some peace with this beggar, and we ourselves and others are trying to address. They are trying to change and it is some places there is great justice, fairness, which is all good. I'm not saying anything is wrong. But the big but here, they do not know that there is a prince there. They can't see the prince. That stone intellect that blocks the prince. Baba is the one, this Ustad is the one who knows the prince, very clearly can see what has happened to the prince. And he can see that prince has become the beggar. He is not trying to address the beggar. He says the prince has to be awakened. That's a big difference. His attention is on the prince. And if the prince wakes up, then there is no comparison between successful beggar and eternal prince. This eternal prince, he knows his life with God, with the King of Kings, his world of love and joy, his world of immortality, his positive universe. He knows everyone, their perfection and their greatness. Different game. We sometimes give this example of the insect and the eagle. And there's no comparison between the life of an insect and the eagle. The eagle enjoys the earth, enjoys the sky. Here it is like that. The angelic prince who is conscious, his world is different. He's angelic. Just he being conscious, he has power to help others at an extraordinary level, beyond the limits of the story. So this is your intervention. This army, Shakti army, our duty is to first acknowledge that here is a prince. This applies to everyone whom we think of or whom we see. See your friends, you're thinking, someone is ringing, someone sending a text. First know that behind all this drama, camel drama, there is the angelic prince. Just 5 seconds, give attention to that. And when you are doing this, you're not to underestimate your the power of your attitude, your vision, power of the mind. It's the language of the soul reaches the soul. It is a victory. The process of victory starts. Our victory is at that level. There are many who are fighting physical wars also. They are beggars fighting for the beggars, or there's something going on at that level. That is separate. Your job is you are working for the prince to overcome their own demon. That is the battle. You are friend of the souls. You are friend of the angelic princess, and your attitude, your vision, your smriti, your awareness, your light, it has value in this. Maybe I'll stop here, and unless there is any question, but we are going to finish 5 minutes earlier today.
Yeah, it's great to come back to this vision, and lots of things are pre-verbal or non-verbal. There aren't any questions, so unless there's something you wish to add, we can go for the draw.
Let us create another minute of attention, and we are understanding if we are using the best sight, best intellect, what we'll see is radically different. And we are prepared for that radically different view of the world. To start with, our world itself is invisible, alokik. Everything of ours, just the story is visible. Our family is, and father is alokik, home, and the self. But very, very vivid for one who is paras. he knows he's very, very lucky because this whole reality is a divine reality, Ravan-free reality. And seen from here, the story is a nice gift, but it is a story. It's a great story, it's a great gift, but also is aware that it is also a web. It's a great web. And it is a playground for the enemy also. Like a spider's web. There are spiders there. He is aware of this. Ustad, he has a task to free all these angelic brothers from this web. They are already deceived in this web. That is the task of the Ustad. And that is the task of the Shakti army. To remain free, to remain sensible, and to be smart in this, not to be deceived. If we are not smart in this game, you are deceived. We understand the great value of smriti, awareness, the invisible witness remaining conscious. Thank you.
Thank you. Need some time for that is sharing. Thank you.
अभी एक सेकंड में सभी प्रमाण अपने राजयोग के अभ्यास करते हुए मन को एकाग्र करने का मालिकपन मन को जहाँ जाओ जितना समय जाओ जैसे जाओ वैसे अभी अभी मन को एकाग्र करो कहाँ भी मन यहाँ वहाँ चंचल नहीं हो बाबा, मीठा बाबा, प्यारा बाबा। अच्छा